5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision's The Week That Was, where we cover the news and events for the week ending on Friday, April 21st. I'm your host, Paige Ray. Our top story this week: as authorities continue investigating the mass shooting in Dadeville, Troy students are learning how to cover similar tragedies. Tuesday afternoon, a Troy instructor spoke with students about how to report hard news and other similar circumstances. Jameson Fowler explains.
Talked with Troy journalism and communication students about the recent mass shooting in Dadeville. He also talked about how to ethically and mentally handle those situations.
I was asked by Professor Robin Taylor to speak to students in the Hall School of Journalism and Communications, where I also teach as an adjunct faculty member, about my experiences reporting in mass casualties. This past weekend I was reporting in Dadeville, Alabama, the mass shooting that happened there. I've also reported other incidents such as the tornado in Selma. So it's been a couple of reporting trips where there have been things to think about in terms of being on the scene and experiencing what you have to do as a reporter.
Although a journalist's job is to get the news out to the public, Gassett believes journalists should have a sense of humanity when reporting in the field. Gassett also described how journalists should handle themselves while working in the field and how to preserve their mental health at the same time.
One thing I think that everybody needs to remember is that you don't want to leave your humanity at the door. We're humans telling other human stories. So you want to think about that when you're out there talking about loss of life and those who are affected by that, and also what it means for the community. So to be a voice and to be a human telling that, I think, is the most important thing that we can remember as a journalist.
By sharing his knowledge and skills, Gassett hopes future journalists and communication students can be better prepared to hone their craft and also maintain an ethical and healthy mentality. Jameson Fowler, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Gassett plans to continue covering what's happened in Dadeville for NPR. You can follow his coverage on Troy Public Radio. Last Saturday, Troy's National Panhellenic Council and its organizations were finally given an official space to call their own. Parker Flowers has that story.
After months of waiting, Troy's National Panhellenic Council and its organizations now have an official space to call their own. Saturday morning, members of Troy's historically African-American Greek letter organizations and university leaders met atop the north side of Troy's campus to dedicate a space that is meant to honor Troy's Black Greek organizations.
It makes me kind of emotional because it's just nice because each and every single one of us works so hard, the community service and all the different activities that we do, countless nights, early mornings, and just, really to just be able to come to campus and just see a spot that just represents us.
With the new space comes expectations of pride and respect. Expectations that Chancellor Dr. Jack Hawking says will be required.
This is a reverent place, and we want our Greeks to recognize that when they come to this place. We want them to be respectful of their heritage. We want them to represent the best of good citizenship.
Representation plays a big part in the newly dedicated plaza, especially for current and future NPHC members.
The representation is huge, especially for others that's already graduated and for others to come. Even though, we all have different organizations, we all represent, similar morals. It really just, resembles, it gives us a place, for the D9 organizations to be able to come to Troy University and call our little spot our home.
A plaza that was a long time coming, finally set in stone. Parker Flowers, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The organizations honored in that plaza include Omega Psi Phi, Phi Beta Sigma, Iota Phi Theta, Kappa Alpha Psi, Alpha Phi Alpha, Sigma Gamma Rho, Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Kappa Alpha, and Zeta Phi Beta. This past weekend, several important members of Trojan athletics were enshrined forever in Troy history. Simon Schussler explains.
In honor of a lifetime. Over the weekend, several important figures in Trojan athletics history were enshrined forever in the Troy Sports Hall of Fame.
Very excited, wondering was it true or somebody was playing a joke on me, but it was very exciting. It was just overjoyed me.
There were 7 total inductees in the 11th ever class, which included Mike Amos, who was a member of the 1965 and 66 football teams, as well as being an ardent supporter of Trojan athletics for the last 50-plus years. Cheryl Busby, who blocked 23 punts in his 4-year career before becoming the first Trojan to play in the NFL. Rodney Donaldson, who was known for his presence on the baseball diamond as well as on the hardwood for the basketball team. Chris Force, who led the Troy women's golf team to 3 Division II national championships. Carl Hollis, who ended his career as the leading scorer in Troy basketball history. Barbara Sherwood, who is also a dominant catcher for the Trojan softball team, while also playing volleyball for her various roles as coach after her career. And Mark Smart, who won 2 national titles as a baseball player for the Trojans before serving as Troy's head coach for 5 years.
The facilities were good back then for Division II athletics. They're fabulous now. This arena speaks to it. It's fabulous. The baseball facility going through a great renovation now. It's going to put it at the top of the curve in the Sun Belt Conference. The football stadium is fabulous.
Attendees to the banquet were treated to a meal before watching a video honoring each inductee as they were enshrined. The voice of Trojan athletics, Barry McKnight, served as host, and Chancellor Hawkins gave a speech honoring Troy athletics and all of their inductees.
This town is growing and is excited. The fans and the students are excited, and it's growing and growing and growing. Look out, people, here comes Troy.
Simon Schuessler, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Troy Sports Hall of Fame has been around since 2012. Still to come on Troy TrojanVision's The Week That Was, journalism and communication students meet potential bosses face to face. We'll show you how after this break.
You got me believing that I can seize the day. You got me hooked on a feeling that I can do anything if I give my heart to it. If I give my heart to
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Thursday, the Hall School of Journalism and Communication held a career fair for all of its students to learn about and get insight from employers in their field. Emma Ellis has more.
There's one thing that most college students hope to secure after graduation as they embark on their journey into adult life: a job. That's why the Hall School of Journalism and Communications held a career fair with employers from all over the state of Alabama.
The job market can be so competitive, and so it's really important for students to make connections before they're ready to graduate. So that's what we're trying to do today by having these employers in.
So when is the appropriate time for students to begin making these connections and looking for jobs?
You shouldn't start looking for a job when you need one. You should start looking years in advance.
The Hall School of Journalism and Communications prides itself on its ability to prepare students for the workforce, and this is evident through its students and graduates.
I was hired for 48 while I was still here at Troy, and I come back for graduation in 2 weeks, and you just don't really get that opportunity anywhere else. So Troy University, they picked me up, they taught me everything I knew, and they put me directly into a job while I'm still a student.
So what does the Hall School teach students to do that prepares them for life after graduation?
Building portfolios and really honing skills and making those connections, networking early on are some of the takeaways that we hope students get.
Current students were able to put those practices into effect at this career fair and maybe even score some internships and jobs in the process.
I'm looking forward to possibly cashing in on some of those internships or opportunities that the people have here.
You can see more work from HSJC students on Troy TrojanVision News, the Tripolitan, and the Palladium. This week, the Department of Art and Design and the Hall School of Journalism and Communication held its first ever Jerry Johnson Symposium. Kaylee Wright has the details.
The inaugural Jerry Johnson Symposium took students on a journey through the world of graphic design and how the industry looks. The event consisted of 3 guest speakers: Travis Carlson, a motion graphic designer for Brains on Fire and a Troy alumni. The second speaker was Nikhil Godke, a design professor from Auburn University in Montgomery, who talked about artificial intelligence.
Don't be in a cocoon, don't fight it. This technology is going to be here. So the best thing you can do is embrace it, understand what it does, learn about it, and try to adapt.
The last speaker at the symposium was Tommy Lee Washington III. He is the current senior animator for the ESPN Sports Network, and he is responsible for many of their most recognizable graphics. Despite how high up he might be, he never stops updating his resume reel.
Don't stop learning. Don't stop, because everything keeps changing, right? Software keeps changing, the way people do things keeps changing.
The symposium concluded with a panel of judges looking at pieces of graphic design work and films that students have produced. The first place winners of Film in Motion are Nathan Hobbs and Rihanna Thompson for their Dr. Pepper commercial series. Kaylee Wright, Troy, TrojanVision News.
First place for graphic design went to David Sainer. Second place in photography went to Amelia Nettles. And third place in the medium of poetry was J. Antonio Bass. Recently, the Troy University Percussion Ensemble played some rhythmic tunes for an audience at John M. Long Hall. Kaylee Wright brings us the sights and sounds.
Rat-a-tat-tat, the Percussion Ensemble is back, and they gave us a look at what they would be playing at this year's Southeastern Percussion Ensemble Symposium in Marietta, Georgia. If concert attendees listen closely, they may have noticed that all the music that the ensemble played had a similar element.
Hocketing is a method of performance that uses multiple players who perform one thing, but together it creates a whole or a composite. So everything is kind of around that central theme. Within the Romping Golden Pheasants, I think that one was self-explanatory, going back and forth with the small Chinese jing cymbals.
And though Romping Golden Pheasants is my favorite piece, there's one piece in particular that is Dr. Blackstock's favorite. That piece is Operado del Gracioso by Aurel Hollow.
It is an orchestral transcription, so normally you would hear that piece for orchestra, but the arrangement for percussion ensemble is very unique, and we are the only ensemble in the United States to have performed that arrangement.
Another unique piece was Escape by Drew Warden. It is traditionally played on the triangles, but the ensemble swapped them out for metal pipes that you can find at any home improvement store.
I wanted something that was a little more melodic, so we used tuned pipes. The Mary Ellen Butte film, the triangles are imprisoned behind these bars, so the bars are actually represented by those pipes.
Coming up on Troy TrojanVision's The Week That Was, have you ever thought about saving a life, even after yours is over? That's what some Troy students are now considering. We'll have more after the break, so stay tuned.
We all dream, but dreams quickly become distant memories unless we do something about it. Do everything in our power to learn to lead. At Troy University, we teach everyone to be leaders in their field. We're dedicated to teaching a new generation to lead change.
Have you ever thought about donating an organ to someone in need? Thursday, Troy University School of Nursing and College Health and Human Services could possibly help with that. Camille Coney has the details.
In honor of April being Donate for Life Month, the School of Nursing and College Health and Human Services held an event on the quad to inform students, faculty, and staff about the importance of donating organs.
To inform people about organ donation and how they can actually register here to become an organ donor later if they decide to.
Troy University's very own art and design lecturer, Dr. Kelly Burwager, talked about her experience as a living kidney donor.
I felt led to give a kidney to a friend who was in need of a kidney. I ultimately was not a donor for her, I was not a match, but I went forward in the process, which was a few more months of testing, finally was approved to give to a stranger.
Burwager says when God puts something on your heart, you have no choice but to see it through.
I felt like the Lord was telling me to do it, and I just kind of followed His direction, but it was very compelling to want to do it. I'd never had thought about it before.
There are two ways to register to become an organ donor. One is going online at legacyofhope.org. The other is to register at the DMV while getting your driver's license.
You can register online on Legacy of Hope's website, legacyofhope.org. Register your decision to be an organ donor. A lot of folks register at the DMV when they're getting their license, but you don't have to wait. You can do that right now by legacyofhope.org and clicking register here.
Donations are accepted in two forms: deceased or living. Whichever you choose, you're giving someone a chance at life again. Camille Coney, Troy, TrojanVision News.
As final exams and projects draw close, some students may be feeling the pressure. That's why Troy's Learning Center is working to give students advice. Quindarius Corner has this story.
With the exams on their way, many students are getting stressed about how they would pass their exams and how they could prepare. Student Taylor Phillips says she expects finals weeks to be very challenging.
I'm a science major, and I have a lot of biology and chemistry and different classes that I have to study for, and a lot of final projects and stuff.
Meanwhile, student Marcellus Martin is finding ways to reduce his stress.
So some of the things that I do is try to go to the rec center to work out, or even just take walks. I have a dog, take a dog for a walk, or just go walking by myself and just listen to music.
Learning Center Coordinator Rebecca Money Normans has advice students can use ahead of finals week.
I am more of the persuasion that you don't wait until you get into that stress mode. Go ahead and start developing strategies so that you will be prepared when you have to really get into that crunch mode.
Money also lets us know where students can go when they have a hard time studying for exams and don't know where to go.
Definitely come to the Troy Campus Learning Center because we have peer tutors here who are willing to help. They're skilled, they're trained, and they're really interested in seeing their peers level up, basically, because that is our mission.
As finals approach, students are encouraged to find a balance between studying and taking care of their mental health. Quindarius Corner, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Next on Troy Trojan Vision's The Week That Was, members of Troy University's ISCO organization strap on their dancing shoes and hit the floor. That story more is coming up on The Week That Was.
For over 70 years, Smokey Bear has asked you to use fire responsibly.
Fire is due to an unattended campfire. Go time.
Here's how you can stay on the front lines of preventing wildfires. Always watch your campfire. Before leaving, drown it, stir it, drown it again, and feel that the fire is out cold.
Oh, bullseye!
And you won't need a visit from these guys.
Copy that.
You can be Smokey's wingman when enjoying nature and prevent wildfires. Visit SmokeyBear.com for more fire prevention tips.
We all dream, but dreams quickly become distant memories unless we do something about it. Do everything in our power to learn to lead. At Troy University, we offer leadership opportunities from day one. We're dedicated to teaching a new generation to lead change. Do you have what it takes to change the world?
Welcome back. International students were able to put their countries on display at the International Student Cultural Organization's Country Night. Sarah Campbell has more.
On Thursday, the International Student Cultural Organization spotlighted 2 different countries, Tajikistan and Cambodia, with its second country night of the semester.
This night was about for international students who are here for one semester, where they get to present their own country and just present about a little bit about themselves and their favorite things that they find about their country, and as well bringing together like international students and domestic students here on campus, and just have like a really fun time and doing fun games and activities and stuff like that.
After the 2 students gave a short presentation of their countries, attendees were able to play traditional games and even demonstrate what they learned with a Kahoot game.
First, we just shared our culture and history, and then we moved to our traditional games. My 2 games that I had was with rocks. We usually play it in Nowruz, our New Year.
This event gave all students the chance to come together and learn about different cultures in a fun way.
Just to make meaningful connections and meaningful relationships, and just have fun. We're more of like a really fun social club. So that kind of was the goal tonight, and also a goal for those international students who are very proud of their country and want to present to, domestic students who may not, not even know about their country. Just present to them like the great things about their country and stuff like that.
Being educated about different cultures helps connect us and communicate with one another.
When I just arrived in US, I had so many cultural shock, and I think I made them ready for that culture shock that they're going to experience visiting Asian countries. Learning different cultures will widen your knowledge, sharpen your knowledge about other cultures, and you can easily understand them when it comes to communicate with those people.
Sarah Campbell, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Staying with ISCO News, Tuesday, students grabbed their dancing shoes and learned some ballroom dancing in preparation for an upcoming formal. Sarah Campbell also has that story.
On Tuesday, the International Student Cultural Organization hosted a ballroom dancing event taught by Professor Bush.
I really enjoyed this ballroom dancing event, and my favorite was probably dancing the swing dance and the cha-cha-cha. And I really liked the part where everybody would like gather in a circle and just dance together, because we would like get to switch partners and get to meet everybody.
Students learned dances such as swing, the cha-cha-cha, and the tango. The dances were learned in pairs.
This was just a fun night to learn some basics of some of the different ballroom dances. We started with the swing dance, traditional American dance, and we learned some of the basic swing dances, especially a lot of the turns, because that's what's the most fun about the swing dance. Then we moved to a Latin dance, the cha-cha-cha, and did the cha-cha-cha as well. And then ended with the slower dance, the tango, just because it's so much fun, and that's a Latin dance as well.
Those who participated were not only able to learn something new, but socialize with different people as well.
Ballroom dance is called a social dance, which means you don't just dance with the person you came with, you dance with everybody. So we'll move from one person, you get to meet other people, you get some good exercise, and just laugh and have fun.
This event is in preparation for the upcoming Under the Stars formal put on by the International Student Services.
I definitely think I'm going to be using the dances at the formal, because we're going to be using the songs we played here at the dance at the actual formal, so it'll be nice to know some dances there.
Sarah Campbell, Troy, TrojanVision News.
A quick reminder for you, Troy University will be celebrating Earth Day this weekend. Saturday, people will gather at the Arboretum to enjoy carnival food and educational booths during Troy's inaugural Earth Day Festival. Run by local high school students, the booths are going to be geared toward kids in kindergarten through 6th grade, though organizers say information there will act as a good refresher for all of us. That event is free. It's open to the public. It's set to begin at 10 o'clock and end at 2 Saturday afternoon. And staying with weekend news, a well-known art festival soon returns to downtown Troy. We're talking about Troy Fest 2023. Hello and welcome to this edition of Trojan Talk. I'm Paige Ray. Joining us today is Troy Fest co-chair Morgan Drinker. And Morgan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me today.
Of course. So Of course, we are talking about Troy Fest. Tell me a little bit about what this festival is. I know a lot of our viewers probably have heard of this before.
Yes, this is our 20th year to hold Troy Fest on the downtown square in Troy, Alabama, and we are welcoming more than 100 artists to downtown Troy the last weekend of April, and so we are excited about this year's festival.
Yes, and you mentioned artists. These are artists from across the Southeast. I mean, works that you would have to go across state lines to normally see, right?
Yes, this is a juried art show. We have categories of pottery, painting, sculpture, graphics, and functional and traditional craft. And so all of these artists have applied, presented their art, their craft. We've reviewed their process and their methodology and how they create these pieces and accepted them into this show. So this is a real treat to have in our town and in our community.
Absolutely. And this goes on, like you said, in downtown Troy, and artists everywhere. It's not just one street. I mean, we wrap around the square. Isn't that right?
That's right. With more than 100 artists this year, our artist gallery is going to be full. And so we're looking forward to our food vendors and to all of the other things that we have with Troy Fest. But this artist gallery is going to be packed full of really great artwork.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about those other activities, because there is more than art there. We have food, we have festivities. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, so our festival will open on Saturday, April 29th at 9 a.m. and the festival is free of charge and everyone is welcome. It's a family-friendly event. We will have an entertainment stage with a full lineup of just great music and performers from local entertainment groups, and then the festival will have more than 14 food vendors along with our existing food vendors that are businesses on the downtown square, and so we have something for everyone.
And you mentioned before this interview started, this is a rain or shine event.
Yes.
So come when it's clear, I suppose.
That's right. This festival is rain or shine. So if you see a cloud in the sky, don't deter your plans. You keep heading to Troy Fest. If we have inclement weather that would actually provide the necessity to shut down the whole festival, we will post that on our Facebook page. But our artists are here for you to be able to buy their artwork, and they want you to come.
As you mentioned, this is a two-day event, so you can come both days. There's plenty to see, right?
Yes, many people do come both days, in fact. So our festival will open Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and close on Saturday at 5 p.m. and then open on Sunday, April 30th at 10 a.m. and close at 4 p.m.
Okay, now I know a lot of people know of Troy Fest, but they might not know the history. There's a very rich history behind it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, Troy Fest is held in memory and honor of artist Jean Lake. She was a folk artist, and this festival is held for many years at the Pike Pioneer Museum before being moved to the downtown square. And so we have artists that have been coming to our festival and also going to very notable art festivals around the Southeast, such as Kentucky and Jazz Fest in New Orleans, who come to Troy, Alabama just because of the history of Jean Lake.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, this is also a really good chance, and correct me if I'm wrong, to support local artists.
Yeah.
It's been a tough couple of years for a
Yeah.
lot of people. I assume that those artists are no different.
That's right.
Can you talk about that, how this is such a good opportunity?
Yes, we want you to support the arts, and one of the best ways to support the arts is to bring a checkbook or any form of payment, but it really is. This is their livelihood. I mean, this is their passion, and so buy their art, support them. You can talk with them and hear their stories and form a really great relationship with them, but one of the best ways to show support of the artist is to purchase. And we have items from $5 all the way past, $500 and upwards of $1,500. I mean, there is a large variety of items, but support the artist by purchasing their creations.
Absolutely. And one last thing before we go, where can people go for more information? And also you mentioned, if there are any announcements that need to be made, where can they see those?
Yes, there is a complete artist list on our Facebook page, Troy Fest Art and Craft Festival. Also, our website is troyfestarts.com. And both of those places are a really great source of information for real-time updates during the festival.
Well, Morgan, I remember seeing Troy Fest and going to experience it myself. It's always a blast, and like we said before, you really have to go through everything.
Yes.
You don't want to miss it. We appreciate you being here to publicize this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Trojan Talk. And that's all the time we have for Trojan Vision's The Week That Was. To see what's happening on a daily basis, tune in to Troy Trojan Vision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30, Monday through Friday. You can also visit us anytime on our blog at today.troy.edu/TrojanVision. Until next time, we hope you have a wonderful week.